Today we're working on a 1998 Chevy Prism, and what we're doing is we're replacing the AC compressor. Now the first thing we have to do is we have to discharge the system. We have to recover the refrigerant in a proper manner, and after that then we get the vehicle up in the air so we can get underneath it.
Next thing we need to do is to remove this panel underneath the engine on the right side. There are 6 10mm bolts that hold it on around the edge here and 2 up here. So we're going to remove those now. Alright, here's the last bolt holding on that cover. There we go.
There is a boss right here on the tensioner, and we need to turn that. I'm using a serpentine belt removing tool. This one has a 19mm socket. We'll get it onto the boss. Pull it down towards the front. Now we can remove the belt from the alternator right here. There. Now we can remove the belt from the compressor.
Alright, we got enough of room so we can remove that belt just like that. That's out of the way.
Here is the connector right down here. It goes to the clutch. There's a little release button on the side of it. Now, I've got the alternator out, and you can see how accessible everything is, but you don't have to do that. The repair manuals don't specify taking the alternator out, but sure makes it a lot easier. Alright, now we got to take this 14mm bolt that holds the lines to the compressor. There's no refrigerant in the system now, so it's safe to remove that line. And when we take that out, we're going to plug our lines. We'll put plugs in the compressor too. Keep everything sealed. While we're up here on top, we'll get the top bolt. It's right here. It's a T40. Boy, that makes it a lot easier without the alternator in there, I tell you. A lot easier. There it is. Here are the 2 bottom bolts down here. Okay, there's the small one. Gotta be careful, there's only one left holding it. Got it. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to oil balance our new compressor, because we're only replacing the compressor. So we're going to make sure that we have the correct amount of oil in the system. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the old compressor. Take out the crankcase bolt here, and we're going to measure the oil that comes out of it. Alright. Let that drain out of there. Now at this point we want to follow our directions that came with the compressor. It states if we drained 2 ounces of oil or less, we put in 2 ounces of oil in the new compressor. Now if we drained more than 2 fluid ounces, we want to put that same amount in the new compressor. So by looking at the graduations here, we're about 2.5 fluid ounces. So what we'll do now is we will drain the oil out of the new compressor and then put 2.5 ounces of oil back in the new compressor. Now we're going to drain the oil from the new compressor. And when it gets done draining, we're going to put the oil that we took out of it, the new oil, the same amount we took out of the old one. So that's 2.5 fluid ounces of the new oil goes back in. Here is the oil that we took out of the new compressor. And it's all measured to the same amount we took out of the old one, which is 2.5 fluid ounces. So that's what's going to go in there. Okay, let that drip in there a little while, and we'll put the plug back in. The oil is back in the compressor, so the next thing we have to do is move the compressor shaft at least 4 turns before we can put it in. See, if you can't move the shaft like this, if you have a tool right here or a spanner wrench, you can turn that. So we're going to turn it 4 times now. Let's get this plug out of here. The O-rings are on the line, all oiled up. All tight. Now that we have the line connected to the compressor, now we're going to rotate the compressor shaft 10 times. Well, all we were going to do today on this video was to replace the compressor, and we did. So, job done. It's always a good idea, though, to replace the receiver dryer, and if you have an office tube, replace that. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.